Okay, so welcome to another deep dive. Today we are going to be unpacking how to thrive as a fashion and lifestyle influencer in 2025.
Sounds good.
We're going to be drawing on some really interesting points from the Benny Mathur Show. He's really tapped into kind of the pulse of influencer marketing these days.
Yeah, he's got some interesting insights for sure.
So we're hoping to make this practical and actionable
Yeah.
for you, whether you're a newbie or you've been, doing this for a while.
Right.
So let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
One of the big things that Benny talks about is finding your niche and really honing your voice.
Mm-hmm.
And he's very clear that you don't want to try to appeal to everyone, right? It's like trying to be everything to everyone. You end up being nothing to no one.
Yeah, you get lost.
You get lost in the mix.
Yeah, and what I found really interesting is how he sort of breaks down this idea of specialization. He gives these great examples. He's like, the minimalist queen or, the sustainable style guru, the budget-friendly fashionista.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's like, these aren't just, labels or whatever. It's actually a very strategic way to think about how you're presenting yourself.
Totally.
So, if you're out there and you're really focused on, let's say, building a capsule wardrobe,
Yeah.
you're probably going to want to follow someone who is, the minimalist queen, right?
Right, exactly. And you're going to be looking for that person who can give you the advice and like kind of curate that for you.
Exactly. And that's where I think Benny's advice really resonates. It's like, become the go-to person for that specific thing.
Be the expert.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what underpins all of this is that you have to be authentic.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, so you can have a great niche, you can have all the right, stuff, but if it doesn't feel genuine,
It's not going to work.
it's not going to work. And
Yeah.
he really stresses that, especially now, 2025, so much of what's happening online is very curated.
Right. Polished. Yeah.
Very polished, yeah.
Yeah.
So when someone comes across that genuine passion and like real, kind of point of view, it's like,
It stands out.
it really stands out.
It really does.
So let's say, I want to find my niche.
Yeah.
How do you actually do that?
Right.
Like, what are the steps to doing that?
Well, Benny suggests sort of putting yourself in the shoes of your ideal follower.
Okay.
Like really thinking about who are you trying to reach with your content?
Right.
What are their interests, their values?
Yeah.
What are the problems they're trying to solve in the fashion and lifestyle space?
Like, what are their pain points?
Yeah, exactly. And so, for you listening, have you actually sat down and thought about this?
That's such a good point.
Like, who is it that you're envisioning connecting with?
Right.
And that will really shape everything you know from your niche to the type of content you create to even how you present it.
Totally. And then the next thing he talks about is your brand aesthetic.
Right?
So it's not enough to have, just a great voice and a great niche.
It's got to look good too.
It's got to look good. And he talks about being consistent,
Right.
So think about your color palette, think about your photography style.
Your fonts, everything.
Yeah. So it's almost like you're creating this visual language
Mhm.
that people immediately recognize.
Exactly. And that's what's really powerful is when you can create that consistency.
Yeah.
It builds recognition.
Yes.
It reinforces your brand.
And it tells people like, oh, this is you.
It's you.
Yeah.
And it just makes everything feel so much more cohesive and professional.
Totally. Okay. So now we've got a great niche.
Yep.
We're bringing our authentic selves
Mm-hmm.
and the visuals are consistent.
Okay.
So what's next?
What's next?
So Benny's really big on content.
Of course, content is king,
Content is king,
as they say.
as they say. But he actually says consistency is queen.
I like that.
And I love that because it's so true.
It is so true.
You can have the best content in the world,
Right.
but if you're only posting like once a month,
Yeah, no one's going to see it.
no one's going to see it.
And you're not going to stay top of mind.
Totally.
You're not going to build that momentum.
Yeah, you need that regular, valuable content to keep people engaged.
Absolutely.
And speaking of content, he really emphasizes the importance of mixing it up.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Different formats.
Different formats.
Different platforms.
So it's not just about static images anymore.
Right.
He's talking about Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts,
Live streams.
live streams,
It's
everything.
like thinking about where's your audience consuming content
Mhm.
and how can you meet them there?
Yeah. And I think that's a key takeaway here is that, people consume content in different ways.
Right.
So some people love the short form stuff like TikTok,
Yeah.
and then other people want that longer form, YouTube video.
Yeah. So by diversifying your content, you're basically making sure that you're reaching everyone where they are.
Totally. And then another thing he talks about is storytelling.
Oh, yeah.
which is so important, right?
Yeah.
It's not enough to just, show an outfit or
Yeah.
a new product or
You
whatever.
got to tell the story behind it.
Yeah, you got to tell the story behind it.
Where did you get, what do you love about it? How does it make you feel?
Right.
It's about connecting with people
Mm-hmm.
on a deeper level.
Totally. And it humanizes your brand,
Mhm.
right? It makes you feel more real,
More relatable.
more relatable.
Yeah.
And then speaking of connecting with people, engagement with your audience is huge.
Oh, absolutely.
So he talks about responding to comments, answering questions.
Starting conversations.
Yeah, like really fostering that two-way conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about broadcasting your message.
Right.
It's about engaging.
Yeah. And so for you listening,
Yeah.
how much are you actually engaging with your audience?
Yeah.
Are you just posting and ghosting, or are you actually responding to comments?
Yeah. Are you having those conversations? Because that's where you build that community.
Exactly. And that's where you turn followers into fans.
Totally. Okay, so we've got great content. We're engaging with our audience.
Okay.
What's next?
Let's talk strategy.
Let's talk strategy.
We're in platform.
Different platforms. So Benny breaks down how to leverage, the different social media spaces. So let's start with Instagram,
Okay.
which is obviously still a big one for fashion and lifestyle.
Huge.
So what are some of his tips for Instagram?
So Benny really emphasizes the visual aspect of Instagram.
Right.
It's all about those high quality images.
Yeah.
Using relevant hashtags.
Oh, that's a big one.
Really important to help people find you.
Yep.
And then also engaging with other accounts
Yes.
in your niche.
Like becoming part of the community.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's not just about posting your own stuff. It's about actually engaging with other people.
Totally. Okay. And then there's TikTok, which is obviously like the short form video king these days.
It's all about TikTok.
So what are some of his tips for that?
Well, Benny really stresses the importance of staying on top of trends,
Oh,
using trending sounds,
Yeah.
participating in challenges.
it's about being adaptable, right? You
Exactly.
got to be able to like move with what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And, TikTok's algorithm really rewards that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
So the more you're able to sort of tap into what's trending, the more visibility you're going to get.
Okay. And then for those who want to offer more in-depth content
Yeah.
and really build like a dedicated subscriber base,
YouTube.
the OG. So what are some of his tips for YouTube?
Well, he suggests focusing on longer form content,
Okay.
things like hauls, tutorials, vlogs,
Yeah.
where you can really provide value
Yeah.
and establish yourself as an expert.
Totally. And YouTube's great because people go there to learn,
Mm-hmm.
right?
They're looking for that in-depth information.
Yeah.
So if you can provide that, you're going to build a really loyal following.
Okay. And then finally, we have Pinterest,
Oh, Pinterest.
which can sometimes be an afterthought for influencers.
Yeah, but Benny sees it as a really powerful tool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he talks about using it for visual inspiration,
Okay.
but also, and this is key, driving traffic
Okay.
to your other platforms or your website if you have one.
Interesting.
So think of it as a visual search engine.
I like that.
People are searching for ideas, inspiration,
Yeah.
and if your content is there,
Right.
they're going to find you.
And then they can click through to your Instagram or your YouTube or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're building your presence on all these different platforms.
Yep.
Now let's talk about collaboration,
Collaborate.
which is so important for growth.
Huge.
So what are some of Benny's tips for collaboration?
So Benny's a big believer in collaboration,
Okay.
and he sees it as a really effective growth strategy.
And it makes sense, right? Because you're tapping into someone else's audience.
Exactly. And they're tapping into yours.
Yeah, so it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
But he also stresses the importance of aligning with the right collaborators.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
You don't want to just collaborate with anyone.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that their values align with yours.
Your aesthetic.
Their aesthetic, their audience.
Right, because otherwise it could actually hurt your brand
Totally.
if you're partnering with someone who's not a good fit.
Right? It's going to confuse your audience.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, wait a minute, what are you about?
Exactly.
So alignment is key.
Okay. And then when you are collaborating, he says it's not just about a quick shout out.
Right. Right.
It's about offering real value.
Yeah. Brainstorming creative ideas.
Yeah.
Working together to create something that's mutually beneficial.
And engaging for both audiences.
Yeah.
It's not just about, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Right.
It's about actually creating something cool together. Okay. And then finally, under the umbrella of collaboration, he talks about networking.
Oh, networking is so important.
Right. So it's attending events, connecting with people online.
Building relationships.
Yeah. So it's not just about, DMing someone and being like, hey, let's collab.
Right.
Right.
It's about actually building those relationships.
Yeah, like becoming part of the community.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered so much.
I know, right?
We've talked about finding your voice, creating content that resonates, using different platforms strategically, collaborating with the right people.
And now for the big one.
Now for the big one, monetization.
Everyone wants to know about this.
Everyone wants to know, how do I actually make money from this?
Right.
Right? So Benny's really clear that it's not just about slapping ads on everything.
Right.
Right? You have to be more strategic about it.
Absolutely.
So what are some of his tips for monetization?
Well, he talks about diversifying your income streams.
Okay.
So don't just rely on one thing, because if that one thing goes away,
You're in trouble.
you're in trouble.
So spread it out.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the ways you can do that?
Well, first up, we've got affiliate marketing,
Okay.
which is basically where you partner with brands and earn a commission on sales
Through your unique link.
through your unique link. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if someone buys something through your link, you get a cut.
So it's great for product recommendations.
Absolutely.
Especially if you're already recommending products that you love,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can actually make money from it.
Exactly. And that's where the authenticity piece comes in again.
Yikes.
If you're genuinely recommending products that you believe in,
Yeah,
your audience is going to be more likely to trust you
Yeah.
and buy through your links.
totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so affiliate marketing.
Yep.
What else?
All right, so next up we have sponsored content. This is probably the most common way for influencers to make money.
Right.
So this is where you partner with a brand to create content. Could be a post, a video, a story,
Like
whatever.
features their product or service.
Exactly.
Okay.
But again, Benny emphasizes that it has to be a good fit.
Right. It can't just be any brand.
Right.
It has to align with your values.
Your aesthetic, your audience.
Yeah, otherwise it's going to feel forced.
Mm-hmm. And your audience is going to see right through it.
And they're going to lose trust.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so sponsored content.
Okay.
What else?
All right, so then Benny talks about taking things a step further
All right.
and creating your own products or services.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so this could be anything from a clothing line
Okay.
to a beauty brand
Mm-hmm.
to digital products like presets or ebooks.
I love that.
So it's about leveraging your brand
yeah.
to create something that you own
Right.
and that you can sell directly to your audience.
Okay, so creating your own products
Yeah.
is the last one.
All right, so last but not least, we have consulting or coaching.
Okay.
So if you've built up a lot of expertise in the influencer space, you can actually help other people
Oh, cool.
build their brands.
So you're basically sharing your knowledge
Exactly.
for a fee.
For a fee.
I like it.
So you're monetizing your skills.
In your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So there you have it.
Wow, we have covered so much ground today.
We have.
We've talked about everything from finding your niche,
Yep.
creating amazing content,
Mm-hmm.
strategically using different platforms,
Collaborating, networking.
and of course, monetizing.
All thanks to the wisdom of Benny Mathur.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, one thing that Benny really emphasizes is that this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Oh, absolutely.
Building a successful presence online takes time,
Dedication, tired.
consistency.
And most importantly, staying true to yourself.
That's the key.
Right.
That's what people are going to connect with.
Totally. So for you listening, I want you to think about which of these strategies really resonated with you
Yeah.
and how can you start to apply them?
To your own journey, whether it's in fashion and lifestyle or something completely different.
Right.
What unique perspective do you have
Yeah.
that you can share with the world?
What are you passionate about?
Yeah, because that's what's going to make you stand out.
That's what's going to make you successful.
Totally. All right, that's it for our deep dive today.
Until next time.
See you later.